have this unction. Has to do with what you call, matter of fact, we're going to call it the Renaissance of truth in a sea of lies. Renaissance of truth in a sea of lies. And what that has to do with is, by all indications, it very much appears that truth is coming to the fray, coming to the forefront, making its appearance in a very big way, and setting the record straight. You know, we've said for many years now on this platform that the tribulation isn't so much the battle, the so-called battle of armies that's not appropriately predicated, wrongly predicated on the relationship of the six-pointed star people against all nations that are arrayed against her, which is for good reason. Now they're trying to annihilate the whole presence, the whole population of their neighbors in the West Bank. How is that, or how are they still the promised people when they are against, when they vitiate, when they go against, diminish the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross? They are anti in place of, or against, the whole notion of Christianity. And it was Jesus Christ who is the fulfillment of all prophecy, looking back, present, and looking into the future. Jesus Christ. And this is why, not to get off on that, on this theological thread or tangent, but this is why they do not give credence to Jesus Christ, who was the embodiment of all prophecy coming to a head back in Daniel 9:24-27. We say this all the time. Finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, make reconciliation for iniquity, bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision and the prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. It was Jesus Christ. So when these people say, we're trying to take out all of the obvious accomplishments of the Lord of glory, the fulfillment, all prophecy is predicated with Jesus Christ, past, present, and future, period. Old covenant, Old Testament, New Covenant, New Testament, and the future. And the testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy that we say all the time. But it seems now there's a bubbling up, and this seems to run in conformance with when the devil gets kicked out of heaven, cast down to earth, the accuser of the brethren, and the devil knows that he has but a short time. So the battle is not so much based on the ramifications or the fallout or the ripple effect, however you want to put it, between standing armies, as it is, and this has a very beautiful conclusion, even though we have to go through a makeover, a historical, prophetic, once and for all makeover of everything in the reality that we know it now. But truth is quickly rising to the top as the creme de la creme, and it is recognizable as the creme de la creme. That means that people, they are rejoicing, even as unsavory as it is, they're still rejoicing in the truth that's coming out. And it will be that truth that in a very huge way is quickly and abruptly dismantling the stronghold, the bulwark, the fortress of evil, of lies, of things that do not equal the truth. And that's a time actually to rejoice in that sense, because even when it looks darkest out, that is when the purest of the pure truth rises as the creme de la creme. Creme de la creme is a French way, it's a very kind of a fancy way of saying the best of the best, the cream of the cream, cream of the crop, all of those. And it all has to do about the justice and the peace and the tranquility and the joy and the happiness of the truth coming to fruition, coming to an acknowledgement that it means more than non-truth. Because the devil is a liar, and a murderer from the beginning. So we have the social, economic, political, religious albatross that's been meandering down the halls of history in a very haphazard way, leaving in its wake all of these multiplicity of death, destruction, and all the like for many years now, centuries now. And now there's a reconciliation that's coming to the forefront. And it has to do with people standing up to represent the truth against non-truthers. That we will submit to anybody is the good fruits are the things to be joyful about. Rejoicing in that justice. It's all about justice. It's all about the Lord bringing about all of the things that need to be necessary in order to bring truth to the forefront. See, what keeps us down, what is so debilitating, is that we live in a sea of lies. The whole world has been flooded by lies. It's an economy of lies. That economy of lies is going by the wayside. We're seeing certain examples of it. So, the kingdom of God is slowly coming into appreciation, to existence, to having people acknowledge it. It's a huge validation, recognition, or validation that is ushering in truth. And this goes from a political standpoint, this goes to a religious standpoint, which are all intertwined with the whole concept of the anti in place of or against the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross, Antichrist, spirit thereof, and against the finished work of Jesus Christ, false prophet, the office of the spirituality of the false prophet. Because you have all of this pseudo politics and you have all this pseudo sense of religion, that thinking that they have arrived, thinking that they can set up their utopia, but no sooner than at the same time that they're trying to feverishly set up those last foundational pillars, when in fact their house has come crumbling down and they don't see it, they don't realize it. Hopefully you're going to get a little bit out of what we're talking about. And people will be more aware of these things. You know, I walk around with these t-shirts on all day long. Even got it on the back. You can read it. It's almost never that I get a comment on what this message or website means. Almost never. And I do the metrics on the website, and it only bumps around 2,500 to about 3,000 a month, which is absolutely nothing. But some people are checking in. Some people are locking into what we're saying about the kingdom of God, because when truth, bottom line, close it out right now, when truth comes to the forefront, that is something to be extremely excited in a very good way about. Because as the devil comes down to this reality, and the devil gets beat at their own game, at his own game, then what that means is Christ is giving you, as the believer, the tools, the mechanisms, and the ability to get the truth out there. Because the latter days, there's a polarization. You're either going to be on one side or you're going to be on the other. You're either going to be on the side of truth as it relates to politics and religion, or a person will not. They'll be on that worldly, sketchy kind of, what do you think, how do you feel, what's your opinion? It's all kind of dialogue to consensus on this, groupthink consensus, and all of that. But the main premise, the main factor, is that they're disregarding the truth in the whole process. At the same time, while the truth is quickly bubbling up for everybody to see. Nobody thinks of the tribulation in those terms. Again, they think in terms of tribulation, they think, well, that's going to be Israel against all her enemy states. Well, again, the problem is that this doesn't run in tandem or consonance with what you 6-Pointed Star people are preaching about, because you're the ones wanting to genocide your neighbors over in the West Bank. Unbelievable. So how can you people be the chosen people if you're doing that, like the word says, killing other people thinking you're doing God a service? But again, be of good cheer, be encouraged, because that truth is coming quickly to the forefront. You know, in the latter days, be strong, do exploits. That is what you're doing, just by telling the truth. You don't have that. That is how radical you get, is you're telling the truth. You're standing on the side of the truth, which means that you're standing shoulder to shoulder with other spiritual, born-again Israel warriors, brothers and sisters, that are doing the same thing by telling the truth. And just one person out there telling the truth will put their armies in disarray and be filled with fear. Telling the truth is the food that will sustain you through the tribulation. It will see you through. Share that same food with other people. Talk about these things. Have people watch this video. Because things are unraveling. Quickly unraveling. Some things to think about. It's good to be 0 dark 30 here, can't sleep, whatever. But that's just me. I'll leave you with this thought. I wanted to get this recording out because there's some people, there's not very many, but there's just a few, which is totally fine, perfect with me. That is gold, where I'm coming from. That is gold. Thank you for being interested. And these are things that we get inspired or have an unction, which is one and the same, synonymous. And then we want to go and promulgate and propagate the word of that message so that hopefully other people can see it, because we are in the preparation mode right now. It could go absolutely totally off the rails here very soon with all the terrorists, with the thing in Israel, with all that genocide going on, with Russia. And the truth. It's so true. Final thought. When the Lord said, and the truth will set you free. When the Lord inspires his disciples, apostles, prophets, watchmen, watchwomen, to be able to use that truth so that you can help set free other people by letting them know that yes, these things are right in the batter's box, waiting to go to bat on it, so that they can know what to expect. What to expect. So keep that in mind, please. Hopefully this message will be a benefit to somebody out there. It gives a little bit different light on just the whole idea of what the tribulation is going to be about. Again, everybody thinks it's going to be the six-pointed star people against all her enemies, when in reality, the six-pointed star people are the ones who are creating all the hell, hate, and discontent. People you don't even know what you're in for. You've given away your birthright. You evangelicals, 7-year dispensational pre-trib rapture cultists have given away your birthright. We're trying to steer you away from that, but not too many of you are listening. And that's okay. That's the way you want it. That's the way you get it. But for those other people, the tribulation, yeah, it's about the prospect of wholesale war. Of course, that's a sixth seal. We've said this many times. Sixth seal, seventh trumpet, and seventh vial. And the seventh trumpet also has the third woe in there as well. And the seventh vial, they all have one commonality. They all end in the wrath of God. But the beauty, the bright spot is the fact that truth is winning over non-truth. This is sometimes it's hard to understand. It's kind of lofty, sublime, mystical, spiritual truths. But this is what we see happening right now. Is that in many sectors, final thought, in many sectors of our society, the world view, the world at large, the world stage, all of that, truth is really making a renaissance. Renaissance has it as one of its etymological synonyms. You know what that word is? Rebirth. Look up the synonyms for renaissance. One of them is rebirth. The rebirth of truth. Isn't that great? We're going to name this the Renaissance in Truth in a Sea of Lies, but having also a rebirth of truth. Words to that effect. So we're going to really try to codify some of these notions in the future, near future, but these are something that you can feel good about in the face, in spite of all of these things that you just, it's like a vortex, it's like a swirling. But at least you know why these things are happening and what the different dynamics of it are, so that you can be able to appreciate it, know what's going on, have a certain modicum of comfortability to it, so that you can relate it to others. Because you know what is going on. That's what we're trying to get across right now. In the meantime, love you guys. Keep doing the great job that you're doing. And everybody's watching you. Even if you don't think they are. but you're very special. You're very needed. And you're very, very important in the kingdom of God. Don't ever forget that. I love you guys. We'll talk soon.